is the RoboWriter podcast. Tonight we're coming with a special Hall of Fame edition. I am your boy, Robo the Writer, and we got a special guest with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. A very good friend of mine, Mr. Robert Ramnath, very big sports fans, got a lot of sports information in that brain of his. So without further ado, my friend for the night, Mr. Robert Ramnath. Rob, how you feeling?
I'm doing good.
You feeling good? I guess we can get right into it. How do you feel about this? About the Hall of Fame? First off, about their selection process. Do you think the process is flawed, like we've been hearing from a lot of people who may have sour grapes because they didn't get in, but also may have a point? So, what do you think about the selection process?
I think the whole selection process, to a point, is flawed. Especially when it comes down to guys like Terrell Owens. I think with that, it just came down to politics. I mean, there's guys that I enjoyed watching who I thought should have got in. Guys like Isaac Bruce.
I gotta completely agree with you on that. I think the process is flawed. I think there's too many things that shouldn't be focused on. First and foremost, I think there should be a grading system where certain things are the most important and other things come second, third, fourth, and kind of a ladder like that. I think the process is completely flawed because it allows for personal bias and personal interpretation of a player's character and who they are, not let alone what they produce, what they did on the field, or what they did for the sport in general.
Right.
I gotta ask you if there's anything about the process you would change, where there may be something that you would take out, something they look at that you wouldn't necessarily give too much weight on. Is there anything in particular?
To be honest, yeah. I mean,
that's what we want, honesty.
Yeah, I would probably change exactly who votes.
Get a different crowd in the room. It looks like the crowd in the room now all looks the same.
Yeah, definitely. I would probably change who is involved with the selection process. Like I said, at the end of the day, with the Hall of Fame, it all comes down to politics. It all comes down to the personality of the player, what they did on and off the field. I think contributes to that. It's kind of like with the NBA All-Star selection process, which I think is really BS because it's popularity. But back to the NFL, I would probably change one or two things on how they do select players into the Hall of Fame. Like some of my favorite players were left out. Some of the guys who I thought should have got in were left out. So yeah, I'm reading some of the finalists, some of the guys who didn't make the list.
Yeah,
I know here in Philadelphia, people were saying Donovan McNabb's a Hall of Famer, which I disagree with. He's not a Hall of Famer.
that's a whole different story for a different day. Yeah, I wanted T.O. too, and we'll get into our picks of who we would have left off this year's ballot and who we would have put on a little bit later in the show. I gotta say that I agree with you. I think the process is flawed, and the things I would change, like I said, are having a process that grades certain things on more importance than others. I think the most important thing they should look at is stats, the numbers. What the numbers say, and where those players rank among their peers. I don't want somebody that was 25th or 30th all time in my Hall of Fame before somebody that was third all time in in the same statistic category because you like him better. That's not the way it should go. When you
I don't get it. I don't understand the whole owner and like the commissioner getting into the Hall of Fame. Like, what's it?
Exactly. There's so many deserving players, and you're putting in the commissioner. You putting in players that have been around forever, almost like you're doing it for pity or something, or to make these people feel good. I understand there's a senior class guys that have played in the past that you want to honor, but at a certain point, there's players that nobody even remembers that are getting in years where other people should be that are on their third and fourth ballot that should have been maybe in on their first or second.
Right. And yeah, John Lynch, did he get in or no?
I believe he did get in.
He did get in. Okay. What about Ty Law?
No.
See, yeah, I mean Ty Law, the numbers. I mean, he was like a shutdown corner. I mean, during that whole run of the Patriots with the whole 3-peat and defense wins championships era, like Ty Law was. I mean, he was a really good player.
And then there's certain positions that just get left behind completely. There are 306 players in the Hall of Fame. You know how many safeties there are? 2.
Yeah.
And the other one went in the night.
Yeah. LT, Danian.
I appreciate LaDainian because his numbers back up his credibility. But like when you disregard complete positions, like the position of safety, it boggles my mind that somebody like Brian Dawkins is going to have to wait. The John Lynches, who now that I'm thinking about it, may have to wait.
Right.
The Troy Palomalus may have to wait. The Ed Reeds may have to wait because they don't put safeties in.
And I argue with people. I think Ed Reed is arguably one of the greatest defensive players to ever play on defense. A lot of people, man, he just used to create plays after the interception. That was what he was known for. He was a good tackler, but he was a better ball he played the ball so well. Sort of like how Asante Samuel wasn't really a come up and hit a guy tackling cornerback. He was more of a play the ball type of guy.
Yeah.
And Ed Reed was like times 10. I mean, he was on a great defense with Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, and then on top of that, he just was an athlete at safety. As well as Troy Polamalu, he wasn't as much as play the ball type of guy. He was more of the come up and play as like a fourth linebacker / safety. But again, to your point, those guys have to wait. Brian Dawkins, again, and as speaking back to the Eagles and touching on the Eagles, I think Malcolm Jenkins is kind of slowly filling into that role as like a Brian Dawkins. I mean, he isn't Brian Dawkins, but he's filling in as
That's true. He's garnering that type of fan praise, number one, and just getting that leadership role that he's had on the defense, and not let alone just the secondary. So I see what you're saying.
I will admit, though, to Paul Tagliabue, back to the Hall of Fame stuff, I will admit I kind of like the way the league was when Paul Tagliabue was there versus Roger Goodell.
Me too.
The NFL feels so different now. I kind of think with the concussion things and everything that's going on with that, there's a ton of flags now during games, and it seems like every offseason things are getting tweaked. Like the ball's getting kicked off from this yard line now. They're trying to reduce kickoff return. They're trying to eliminate like field goals now, and it's making harder. The extra point isn't necessarily as guaranteed as it was. I just think things with the rules are being tweaked under Roger Goodell versus Paul Tagliabue, and I kind of like the way the league was when Paul Tagliabue was there.
Yeah, I
But
think they're.
you can also argue that hey, maybe Paul Tagliabue wasn't as aware of the concussion protocol and the player safety. Um, so I mean, it's a kind of like either way you look at it. Me personally, I just love the way the league was when Paul Tagliabue was there. But I mean, if player safety is their main concern, I mean, you gotta look at that too.
Yeah, but it seems like they're going out of their way to put on this facade that they've cared about player safety all along, and they care now when really, to me personally, they're just protecting their pockets. And they also hide behind we're making the game more exciting by eliminating the boring stuff and making some of the other stuff that was boring more exciting by making the extra point something you can't get up and grab a beer during, because there is a chance he could miss it now from 30 something yards.
Right. But yeah, I honestly think that defense has changed. Like there's flag. I mean, you give a guy a little bit of contact, like the flag is automatically going to get thrown. It's a guarantee now. The game is more to the advantage of the offense. It's more of a pass first league now. The receivers, if you play wide receiver, it's in your favor.
They don't let them play defense anymore. That's out the window.
Right. I mean, it's all about excitement because that's what's competing. Like you need exciting games. It's not about football anymore. It's about money and ratings and
They say
the advantage it is the ratings are down. Like nobody's really watching. And I think red zone has a lot to do with that. Many people are just getting red zone and having the ability to watch their favorite team that way. People just aren't sitting and watching games anymore. Or they are, but they're not watching games for 4 hours. Like you can tell things have changed.
Yeah, it's not the way that it used to be. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll discuss this year's Hall of Fame inductees, who we think should be left off, who we would have put on this year, and a lot more pigskin when we come back.
It's your boy RoboWriter, reminding you for all your residential and commercial cleaning needs, the choice is easy. Shank's Cleaning Service offers a wide variety of cleaning solutions for your home or business. From landscaping and moving to painting and carpet cleaning, Shank's Cleaning Service uses environmentally friendly, all-natural chemicals. So don't delay your opportunity to have your home or business cleaned properly. It's just a phone call away. Call 267-970-5034. That's 267-970-5034 now for your free estimate. Or visit Shank's Cleaning Service on Facebook and Instagram. Remember, that's Shank's Cleaning Service. Be legendary.
We're back. It is the RoboWriter podcast, brought to you always by the All Out Sports Network. I am RoboWriter. Sitting in with me is my boy Rob Ramnath, big time sports fan, big time sports fanatic, big time sports enthusiast, full of information, full of things to talk about. Right now, we're looking at who made it in this year's ballot. So, the inductees for this year go as follows. Kicker Morton Anderson, running back Terrell Davis, safety Kenny Easley. Once again, I'll let you guys know, only the second safety in the Hall of Fame. Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys. Jason Taylor, defensive end, longtime Dolphin and Jet. LaDainian Tomlinson, longtime Charger and Jet running back. And Kurt Warner, longtime quarterback of the Rams and Cardinals. Those are your inductees. I got to ask you, does any name pop out at you, Rob, that says, "Oh, for sure, that guy needs to be sitting there. No doubt about it. I have no issues with him." Who's the one guy where there are no issues at all?
Definitely, I will probably have to say um, Ladanian. No question about it. He should be in. Kurt Warner. I don't know much about Kenny Easley. I wasn't born back then, and I really didn't watch him play. Um, Morton Anderson, man. I mean, he played how many years?
25.
25 years. I mean, I still think Adam Vinatieri is the greatest kicker ever. That's just my opinion. Terrell Davis. I don't know. I mean, I probably would have put T.O. in over Terrell Davis.
Yeah, you gotta with Terrell Davis it's a hard catch because you're looking at a bunch of crazy stats in a very short window. I believe
Right.
Terrell Davis played 6, maybe 7 seasons. I'm pretty sure it's 6, but to have ran for 2,000 yards in that time, won 2 championships, was the MVP of the league, and the MVP of the Super Bowl. That is a lot to accomplish in a small period of time. And it goes back to what we may have spoke of earlier. One of my things that I think needs to be a part of the criteria is longevity. I think longevity should take more of a precedent when deciding who gets in and who doesn't. I don't think it's fair, even if you have a lot of gaudy stats that pop out at you, if you didn't have the longevity of some other guys who put in the work for longer and have just as good stats, maybe not the championships that come, rarely to this player and that player, but other stats that rank them high, you got to look at that. To then pass that aside for somebody who was only in the league half the time, even if it was due to injury. I understand that. Just doesn't seem right to me.
And then with LaDainian Tomlinson, I remember back when he played, he also had a really good fullback called the name Lorenzo Neal.
Who inducted him tonight?
Absolutely. I think that has a lot to do with, I'm not saying LaDainian isn't great or none of it, he's definitely my favorite guy.
Second all time in rushing touchdowns in history.
He's definitely my favorite guy of this year's class. But then again, you also have to say, hey, he had a really great fullback, and it's not taking away what he.
And he was getting 40 carries a game. He was getting 30 carries a game and at least 10 passes out the backfield. He was a horse when they were instituting Marty Ball.
Absolutely, and then I still kind of wanted him to stick it out with Breeze. I really wanted him to get a ring, but he was played in a bad market. He played in San Diego. I don't like California football teams, and I just don't like.
I hope there aren't any Raiders fans listening. Well,
Yeah,
they moved by
the
now.
not only that, I mean, the Raiders are moving to where, Vegas?
Yeah.
And then that's another thing with going back to the whole NFL thing, and it's changing.
Hey, everybody's moving. Everybody was in a rush to get back to Los Angeles or to Vegas.
Right, and it's all about money and business. It's all about the market that you play in. I still think that San Diego is sort of a dead area versus like the LA area. The Bay Area is up and coming. So, but yeah, back to LaDainian Tomlinson, I just thought that he kind of played on a bad team. I wanted him to stick it out with Drew Brees a little bit longer. He played with Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees. But yeah, I remember that year when he rushed for like, how many touchdowns did he have? Like
27 rushing touchdowns in a season.
And I think it was between him and Alexander that year or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So who would you take off of this year's inductees? I think you said Morton Anderson is your guy you're taking off. So
well, as a like if you read his stats, I mean, he played the most games. He has the most, I think,
Points ever.
like 50 plus yard or more field goals. He has the third longest field goal, which is 60, which is versus Chicago in '91. But yeah, I guess for his position, you can put him in there. Believe it or not, Jason Taylor though, it's crazy. I've been watching football and I've never, like, I've heard of Strahan and I've watched Michael Strahan and Reggie White and all these great defensive ends and defensive players. Where is Jason Taylor's highlight tape?
I think Jason Taylor was a lunch pail guy. He was consistent. He was that guy that brought it every season and was a perennial Pro Bowler. I mean, he holds the record for most fumble recoveries for touchdowns. I mean, he's accomplished a lot, but he is not the sexy name. He's not the name that pops out at you on name recognition. So I can see your difficulty with Jason Taylor as far as like a name that pops out at you, somebody that seems like on stats and facts alone, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, but there may be more important people to the overall history of the game that may have went in before him.
Right.
Or should deserve to go in before him.
Yeah, you're right about the fumbles recovered. You know, he's first in the longest fumble recovery for a touchdown like ever. Yeah, I guess so. I'm guessing his Jets, when he played for the Jets, it was more on the downside of his career, right?
Yeah, that was his last stop.
Right. Yeah, but I'm pretty excited about Medanian. I guess Terrell Davis.
Yeah, Terrell Davis is your guy who said you would take off. So if you're letting go with TD, who would you put on this year's list that didn't make it?
Terrell Owens.
I think that's the consensus across the country. Terrell Owens, let us know why T.O. deserves to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer.
First and foremost, Terrell Owens is, I think, in my opinion, arguably, I mean, the greatest receiver ever. If you look at his stats, I think he's like second or third.
He's second.
All-time in touch.
He's third overall in touchdowns, fifth or sixth in catches, and I think he might be second in touchdowns, either second or third in touchdowns, top 5 in receptions, and top 5 in yards all time.
Right. I think he's over 1,000 receptions, played over 200 games, 153 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean he's no doubt, in my opinion, a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, if pick your poison, he can go no lower than second or third best receiver to have ever played the game. It's pick your poison between him and Randy Moss. Who you want to go 2-3? You can argue that till the cows come home, but there's no way he's not top 3. We're all going to know about Jerry Rice. He's going to be the greatest football player that ever lived. But
again, that's our argument in the past. He is not, in my opinion, he is not the greatest football player ever.
I think yours is Jim Brown, if I'm not mistaken.
It was Jim Brown, and then now, I mean, you gotta throw Brady up there, man. Like, seriously. Like, can we please just give Tom Brady some credit?
We give Tom Brady some credit, but I'm not putting him in the class with Jerry Rice just yet, just as far as domination over a long period of time. Jerry Rice was legit the entire 20 seasons.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice has scored more touchdowns than anybody on planet Earth, and it will never be broken. Ever.
I mean, but at the same time, you cannot sit there and say that Tom Brady ain't that like top 3. He's the greatest quarterback ever.
Yeah.
He's better than Peyton Manning. He's better than Joe Montana. He Amendola. Gronkowski's out for the year.
It's unbelievable. I have to agree with you. It's definitely it's definitely unbelievable. To give my opinion on this year's class, I mean, I guess I like the guys. They all paid their dues in the league. My guy I'd leave off is probably Morton Anderson, the kicker, maybe Terrell Davis. Anybody, the fun person I'm putting on above all is Terrell Owens, and if I had to get rid of Terrell Davis, I'd had to put Brian Dawkins up there, just because his position is so underappreciated in the Hall of Fame, and there needs to be more in there. And his contribution to the game was legendary. He was one of.
Not only that, like you have to look at players who are on the list or made it into the Hall of Fame, and then look at their defensive coordinators. Like some of the guys who, like some of the people who these guys played for, like legendary guys, like Dawkins. You got Jim Johnson. I mean John Lynch. You know he came from that the Broncos, the whole Buccaneers, and then that's again? What was his name?
That was Tony Dungy's defense. That Tampa too.
So you have to look at where these guys came from too. And like I said, man, Dawkins, it's politics. That's all it is, man.
I think you're right. I think there is a lot of politics that goes into play. Like I said, Brian Dawkins and Terrell Owens not being a homer. Everybody knows I'm a Philly guy, but I think they deserve to have been in this year, especially Terrell Owens. Enough is enough. You may not like the guy, but the numbers are what the numbers are. The numbers say he is clearly either the second or third, pick your poison, greatest receiver to have ever played this game. He needs to have a gold jacket. Enough is enough. I did too. I mean, he was.
I understand he was a good receiver with the Niners and all that, but I really honestly think his prime was with the Eagles. And man, like we were so close to winning a Super Bowl, man. Like we were so close. Like people forget the Eagles scored first.
The Eagles were leading that game at halftime, if I believe correctly. I remember Greg Lewis.
The little skinny dude caught it. I've never seen a catch like that. Like that was like a really good catch in the Super Bowl. That got overlooked. And I think time management, that kick in the third quarter really killed the Eagles. I think if the Patriots missed that kick, I think the Eagles win that game. I think because the Patriots. Because they went up by that field goal, and then they scored. You know that pretty much broke the Eagles back. But man, I would have loved to see Brian Dawkins get a ring. I would appreciate Dawkins with a ring more than Donovan McNabb. It's just Donovan McNabb. When I think of him as a football player, as a guy, he's a nice guy, but he doesn't have that heart. Doesn't have that grit, and I think that's what Eagles fans fell in love with Brian Dawkins. Eagles fans, with Brian Dawkins, you look at Brian Dawkins and the way he played and the way he talked, it symbolized Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Whereas Donovan McNabb didn't. He was more of the outsider guy, and he was sort of like the kind, like Brian Dawkins was the cool kid everybody wanted to hang out with, whereas Donovan McNabb wasn't. So, and again, you got guys like Trotter on that defense that year that they went to the Super Bowl. Trotter, who else? Michael Lewis. Michael Lewis was like, he made how many Pro Bowls?
Javon Curse was on that team.
Javon Curse, the Corey Simons were there. when I called into other stations, Hollis Thomas actually does sports talk radio now. I don't know if you know, but
Yeah.
I actually having that conversation with him. Like I really like the guys, the Corey Simons and the Darwin Walkers, those guys up front. John Runyons, like I miss those guys. So
Yeah, you don't have a lot of those guys still left in the league. Everything is gimme, 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 pay me, pay me, pay me. Look at me, look at me. And a lot of people are out for self. And we've had a ball tonight. I think this is I thank Rob for being my guest tonight, talking pigskin, giving us a lot of insight on the past, how the game used to be, the differences in the NFL, and what we thought about the Hall of Fame, its process, and this year's inductees. So we're going to get out of here. It's been the RoboWriter podcast. I'm your boy, Rob Whitney. He was Rob Ramnath. We'll see you next time, only on the All Out Sports Network.